Howdy y'all, Spark here, and in this video, I'll be turning BFDI characters into different objects. Now I know that may be a bit confusing, so let me explain. Basically, I'll be taking an object that is closely tied to the original object of a BFDI character. Let's take, Fiery for example. I would take Fiery and turn him into an object that is closely tied to fire in some way. Now that everything's explained, let's get into it. So since we're going to be going in order of elimination, we'll be starting with Fiery. So obviously, Fiery is, well, fire. So I had to make an object closely tied to fire. So as I thought for a couple ideas, the first idea I had was lighter, but I ended up not going with that. I just didn't really like it. The second idea I had was coal, which, as you can probably tell, is what I did go with. It's a pretty simple design, and I had to remove his arms because it wouldn't look good, but yeah, there's coal. I think Cole's design turned out pretty well. It looks nice and simple, yet still, it's unique. Next up is Leafy. Now, obviously, Leafy is, well, a leaf, so I had to go with something closely tied to a leaf. My brain immediately went to, well, trees. And, well, as I'm recording this, I realized I should have went with something like maple leaf, but I ended up not thinking of that. I couldn't obviously just make her tree, because tree is an already existing BFDI character, and I'm going to try to avoid doing that. So my brain went to a different object related to trees. Branches. So I made Leafy branch. I think Branch's design also came out pretty well, though I definitely like Cole's design a little bit more. Next up is Bubble, which has to be one of the easiest ones. Bubbles are, of course, tied with those little toy kits you get, you know, the ones that come with bubbles. So my first thought was immediately those little wands you get with them. So I made Bubble Wand. I think her design turned out okay. I really don't like it as much as I do Branch or Cole. It's just okay. Next up is Flower, and my brain instantly went to other plants. There were 3 ones I really considered. Venus Flytrap, which would just be a cool character design, but I ended up, not really doing that because it would be really hard to draw. The next one my brain went to was Bush. Bushes just felt too far gone from flowers. And finally, the final design the one I ended up going with was Mushroom. I think mushrooms are just close enough to flowers, but distinguishable enough to where they're not, instantly that lovable. So yeah, I made Flower, Mushroom. I think Mushroom's design came out slightly better than Bubble Wands. I'd put it below Branch, but above Bubble Wands for sure. And the final character for this video is Spongy. My brain instantly went to sponges, and I originally considered characters like Sea Sponge or SpongeBob SquarePants, but my brain had a much funnier idea. Scrub Spongy. It's basically just a scrub daddy, but, spongy. I thought this was hilarious. I did have to trace a bit for the body because it was hard to draw, and I used the same idea that Pumpkin-y from Object Overload has for their face. I think Scrub Spongy's design turned out the best. It just looks so unique and cute, and it's such a funny idea. This has to be my favorite of today. Which means the final ranking goes Scrub Spongy, Cole, Branch, Mushroom, and Bubble Wand. So yeah, that's all for this video. Tell me which design was your favorite in the comments. If this video gets, let's say 10, 20, 30 likes, I'll make a part 2 with the next 5 characters in line. But until then, I'll see you next time.